Hello YouTube. I'm gonna do a fast and furious video about the Salvator Mundi. For some reason my video of 2 years ago is getting a bit of traction now after being in a lockbox, basically. Deliberately or undeliberately. I'm going to go with undeliberately. Let's not be a conspiracy theorist this afternoon. Nobody really saw it for the longest time, and now it's gotten a sudden burst of views. And so it has likewise got a lot of comments, and people are telling me I am wrong, that the restorer botched it. It is, the reason the face looks the way it does is because the left half, or depending which way you're looking at it, half his face is masculine, half his face is feminine. Leonardo did this on purpose, and the resultant image is a reflection of this brilliant strategy by him at the time. And this is just simply not the case. I did a blog post about this. Here you can see the two images on screen. I did a blog post, and since I went ahead and wrote about it real quick, let's just go to that and let's see what I had to say. No, the Salvator Mundi is not a split androgynous image. Okay, this part is what I already said. Got a little joke here. They say, that is why the face is lopsided and Savior of the World looks like he lost 3 heavyweight prize fights in a row. You see, Leonardo, in his unbridled genius, did this on purpose. Yeah, just look at that. That is the original restoration. It's painful. No, the very simple reason that the face is so painfully distorted is 500 years of extensive physical damage resulting in the panel being cracked in two, a comic overpainting, cleaning with caustic chemicals that dissolved surface layers of paint, worm tunneling, and a restorer's attempt to connect the dots to make it look like a finished painting. Man, I'm much more long-winded when I write than when I speak. It's difficult to read my writing out loud. Their restorer, that should be the restorer. Got to fix that. The restorer conceded that it was impossible to fix abraded eyes, and whole sections of hair were missing. She misread a shadow under the nose as part of the nose, and thus you have a bulbous, skewed tip of the nose, and that's just one among many amateur figurative painting mistakes the professional restorer made. Now, I'm not impugning her skills as a restorer, but she's not, as far as I know, a consummate figurative painter. Here's the original. She would see something and try and interpret what the original intent of the artist was, and there was a shadow under the nose here, and she interpreted it as the tip of the nose, which is why it's bulbous and goes off to one side. There's all sorts of problems like that. And that gets passed off as Leonardo's original intent, and they'll even say that this is like the height of his mysterious powers, and it's so eerie and otherworldly that only the unbridled genius of Leonardo could have done it. No, this is the 500 years of damage. I mean, there was one comically bad paint over back in the day, and they had to remove that. And the people that did that were not professionals. Well, maybe professionals of the time, but not by today's standards by any stretch of the imagination. And they used caustic chemicals that dissolved surface layers of the paint. There wasn't enough left. And the restorer tried to patch it all together, and that's what it looks like. It's a patchwork done by a highly accomplished restorer who is not a trained, as far as I know, and there's no evidence of that skill, trained figurative oil painter. And even if she was, she's not allowed to make interpretive changes. So what else I say? While it's true that one side of the face has a wider jaw, and that is characteristic of masculinity, by the way, it makes him look like a chipmunk, this was also a restorer error in that she inadvertently accentuated an impression that was due to catastrophic wear and tear. Yes. Please note that the supposedly female entity is a bearded woman with a wide masculine nose and the male version looks like he had overly ambitious rhinoplasty in a California cosmetic surgery clinic. Let's look at that. Yeah, look at this nose. So he chose to give his female version this nose and his male version this nose. And I did divide it right at the center between the eyes. I guess his ideal female is a bearded lady. Now you could say, hey, look at this. Look at the two boobs, two glass orb boobs. And that just is, you're just being a boob saying that. I mean, that's just coincidence. And why are they so far apart? What else do I have to say? My video, this is a little pretentious on purpose, humor. My video about the Salvator Mundi remains to this day the most detailed, comprehensive, and persuasive documentary revealing the fraud of passing off this abysmal restoration as a true autograph Leonardo. Well, I haven't seen a better one yet. I really got into the nitty-gritty of it. I quote all sorts of articles, arguments and counter-arguments. You know, I went deep down the rabbit holes on both sides. And I quote the restorer extensively. I quote Martin Kemp, the main advocate who Christie's hired to promote the painting. I quote him extensively. I give both sides of the picture and a more cumulative, all-embracing argument that takes both sides into consideration. I ask, was my video buried until years after the record sales by Christie's? Who knows? I'm glad that it finally has been let out of the video prison for a breath of fresh air, though I suspect its time in the sun will be short-lived. True. This is my digital restoration and recreation. And I mentioned that, if I do a search online, maybe you get different results. But, my Google searches are, they're tailored for me personally. If I do a Google search for Salvator Mundi, digital restoration, I will see other stages of this by me and some other people's works, but I will not see my final version. And that's curious because I see lots of my other work online, especially stuff where I've done versions of famous works of art. And this being super famous, I don't see it at all. I mean, this image does not appear when I do a Google search. Maybe when you do. And then I talked a little bit how I shared this on Reddit in the art history subreddit, and I qualified that. When I did this, I thought I was not the most qualified person to do this, either as a portrait painter, which I am not. I'm not an oil painter. I'm not an academic realist. I'm a contemporary digital artist who will attempt to do whatever. And so I attempted to do a restoration, but I said that, I am glad to be embarrassed when a more consummate effort is made by serious experts. And even with this caveat and this admission that my interpretation, my attempt at restoring is not on some hyper-professional, authentic level, what the Art History Reddit did was they created a new rule, which it suddenly appeared in the sidebar, saying they will not tolerate any digital restorations, and then they censored the post. And they only put that note in the sidebar after I had posted this image. And I checked and double-checked, and that is the case. And I think other people brought this up as well. And I kicked up a little of a fuss and called them to task for it, and then they permanently banned me. So that is the response I have from art history people on Reddit, in my examination of this image and, pretty damn thorough research. I do have an MFA in art, and I do have college-level art history classes. I've written hundreds of articles on art history on my blog, but the proof just has to be in the pudding. I mean, listen to my argument and evidence. And that was the reaction. Censorship and permanent banning. Thank you, Reddit. Good. I probably would have wasted a lot of time fielding all sorts of comments. You can read about that on my blog. You can watch the video, of course. Oh, look, you can even get a print, and it's only, what did I charge? 18 by 24 is $40. 24 by 33 is $80. Well, these are archival prints. You can get an 8 by 10 for $15. I mean, the original is the most expensive painting ever sold. So you have my version, digital version, and the prices I chose, I think, were the minimum, the rock bottom that were even an option for me. I wanted to make it as cheaply available to as many people as possible, and I think I get 51% of the profit. The rest goes to the print company. And that's part of the reason I use this print company, because most print companies take more than 50% for the profit, which I find intolerable. So you can get a print if you want. That would help me out a lot. And maybe my version will be worth something someday. I don't know. Right now it's worthless and invisible, and pretty much so is my video. But the point is that no, this is not Leonardo's deliberate attempt to do some message about androgyny. But true Renaissance artists often depicted Christ and everyone else in an androgynous way. And we know that Leonardo was not straight as an arrow either, for what that's worth. I don't know what his particular tastes were, but they would do androgyny on both sides of the face, not just one. So this theory appeals to people a lot, whatever. I don't have a problem with your kind of ideas about androgyny or different sides of the face and all that, whatever you want to suppose. That's fine. You're allowed to conjecture. You're allowed to throw out all sorts of ideas, but frankly, there's no way around that the painting is so ridiculously damaged and has been patched together that is the explanation why it looks the way it does, all lopsided and disfigured. Thank you for watching this rant, and I hope to do some more new videos soon, blog posts. I have a new art piece coming out, Mecca, Maryland. You should check that out on my blog. I'll be releasing that in the next day or two. I'll probably do a video later, but the blog post is coming out, the art is coming out, and you're going to like it, I guarantee it. That's all for now. Until next time.